Hey y'all, Sam the Midwest Handyman. We're going to start out at an awkward angle here because I wanted to show you. I set up to do my macrame on this rack that I have. When I tear the rack down and it's not in my house, a lot of times I just hang my loop on the kitchen cupboard. Sometimes you have to make another loop to hang it onto. I got these shower curtain rings that I use a lot. I just had them from my boutique. I need to get more. Oddly, they used to be $2. Now they're like $6 or $7. So Dollar General, I'm on to your schemes. But anyways, so a couple things I've gathered up. My rope. This wire is just this really thin 20 gauge wire that I have a roll of, and I clip it off and make just like a half piece. You can use a paper clip, but on this one, since we are using the smaller beads, it's not going to fit through. So you can get away with that on like the jumbo beads. We're working our way through, so I'm just going to start with the super thin one, and we'll make a couple others with just the basic kind of starter macrame. And then I actually have a lampshade I'm going to do, and I'm going to make a wind chime out of these glass bottles. So we'll get into the more intricate, I'm from the Midwest, intricate stuff as we roll along. But I thought if we're going to do a teaching channel, like let's start basic, and I'm just finishing up extra stuff that'll go into the Etsy shop. It's all actually already up, so if you like what you see today and you don't want to make one, you can buy them. And I'm just going to roll out like every size cord I have this week and make 3 different ones, and then we may do like a Macrame Monday series. So I'm going to move this camera and some tables around, and we'll get at it. Okay, it let me zoom in, so this will be the trial and error here, guys. Hopefully it'll be focused. What I forgot to tell you was I cut eight pieces of string, and I have 4 on the right that are about 2 feet shorter than those that I've placed on the left. So I'm going to actually, best I can, okay, if it's not perfect, but I'm going to lay those 4 on top of the other 4. That way I can have long strings in each bundle that we're going to do. So each section that we're going to take off here. So I've got 8 strings. I've got a string about this long. I'm going to make a loop basically like this. It might be easier to see actually as we get into the thicker string, but I'm just going to hold on to it. I'm probably making this look super easy. I'm going to tell you the first few times I did it, I was definitely fumble fingers. So like any craft, it takes a while to master that. And I'm going to come up through my loop. I don't really think it matters if you go up or down. But then I'm going to hold this one tight, and I'm going to start pulling up on this one. And then I've got some tension now, so I'm going to give a little bit of a squeeze on both ends. And then I'm going to clip this piece. And I'm going to pull it up inside of that. Okay, so now it's hidden. I'm actually gonna make, when I go to make multiple pieces at the same time, I mean, you can see there's some variance, but I usually come up with my pattern, and then it's counted out, and then I just go ahead and I make like quite a few at a time. So I am gonna base this one off of this one. It helps me because I make so many different size potted ones. That way these are like kind of my template. So I always try to make one make some more when I still have one. So that way I don't have to, it can take me quite a while to like come up with my design. So I'm going to pull 4 strings and I'm going to double check that 2 of them are long and 2 of them are short. It looks like I have 3 long pieces. So I'm going to try again because I want them to all be right by each other when I start my first one so it's flat. So I may have to finagle around here. Okay, here's my 2 shorties. And I'll back the camera off in just a sec because I'm actually assuming once we get to the next part we'll be offline. Okay, so I have 2 shorties here. And I'll just drop any of the long ones, won't matter. It can be really overwhelming when you start with all your string, so be patient with yourself. Okay. That may not even have totally gone how I wanted it to, so. Because by rights, I want my shorties in the middle. And I want to start with my long ones. So I'll just have to move these around and make that work. So now I've got my long ones on the outside, sort of, in my hand on the outside. Okay, so I'm going to switch camera a little bit here. Bear with me, we'll get used to it. Oh, how much of that was even on camera? Okay. I see I was getting off camera there, but I will try to be cognizant. So we're going to go ahead and start our spirals. Again, I'm just using this one as kind of a template. I'll probably get more in the middle, more like the other white one. And I have my 2 center strings of the shorter one. You can do them all super long. When I first started making them, I just cut them all the same length. I try to be a little more cord cognizant now. So you're gonna, oops, see, look at me. I dropped them already. Okay, I have them. So we're gonna make a loop, sort of like that. And then we're gonna put this one over that one. And we're gonna go behind and back up through. I'll do a few in a row because when I'm watching a tutorial, I like to see. Now we're doing the spiral, so every one that we do will be exactly the same. So we're making a half a loop, dropping this over it, putting it up behind, and out the front. So I almost did it wrong because I went slow because I was thinking. So you'll have to pull it down a little bit and get it tight. I'm guessing these were a count of 15, so let's see. This is 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and it just kind of starts naturally twisting on its own. 10, 15. So that is when my handy dandy clip comes into play. So I have my clip. I run it, you'll have to pinch the end. So that's why I said some work and some don't. So a paper clip might not work on this one. Not a thick one anyways. Depending on my string and the bead, I can go 1 or 2 strings at a time. I usually go 1 because if not, it beats me up. And also what I'll probably want to do is actually go towards the end of my rope, so that way I'm not pulling all that rope through. So I'm going to slide this down to the end of my rope. And of course this is going to pinch on me, so okay. I'm going to slide down closer to the end of my rope, because every time you go to put another strand through, it's going to get harder and harder. Just like a needle threader, I just pull it through. You're basically just making a rope threader for your bead. You go up through the bead, grab towards the end of your string. So one thing you can do to help keep your strings even, like I said, when you're doing this one, you're going to get 1 or 2 that, that's why I left them longer, because otherwise you'll get down to the bottom of your project and you won't have enough string. I'm getting more used to how much I need to pull out now for what I want to do. But honestly, I always end up with tons of cut off in the end. So then I just kind of pull it down tight and start sliding my bead up, pulling down the ones that need to be pulled. Depending on your string, depends on how smoothly that'll go for you. But then I slide my bead up as far as I can. And this, on this one that we're doing, like now this would give me the opportunity to switch my outside strings. So again, I'm going to make sure that I pick the 2 longest ones, because then as you go, the other ones can become your long ones. And that's another way to save string, is by switching back and forth. Let me check and see if we're even still on camera. Okay. Let's see. Let's slide down a little. And I've got my 2 long ones again. So I'm going to get them positioned on the outside. Again, I'm going the same direction. Make the loop, cross this one over, then you're putting it behind. So it looks like that. So that was 3. Five. So on this string, the thinner string, for me, I prefer to do the flat knot. I just think it ends up looking smoother. Not that I don't like these at all, but it's just like you notice more when it's not, when you don't have the equal level of tightness. Like you might start a project loose, or you might start it really tight, and then when you get in the sync of things, your knot kind of changes a bit, just like crocheting, right? So now I've lost count because I was talking, but when I lose count, I just count the rows. So I count that first knot, I can barely see it, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm at 9, 10, 12, 13. You can do any, any amount of spacing that you want. I just am making it off this one, and so it was a 15 spacing. So then I'm going to grab my next bead, and I will string that on. This time I'm going to remember to work down towards the end of my piece, right at the beginning, the end of my strings. That'll help me. It'll help not beat up my string as much. So I'm going to put the bead through. I can get a little bit bigger of a loop on this one since it's a bigger bead hole. I probably could have put 2 of these strings through since they're so small. Okay, so I will get this bead on, and because I'm going to fumble fingers and make myself look dumb on camera. And then it's like you do it 1,000 times smoothly, and then you turn a camera on, and it's like your fingers go, ugh. All right, so I'm through. I'm going to push my next big bead up. I will look for my 2 longest strings again. See, they're getting really close to being even now, so. But if you do a big project and you get on a whole bunch of coils and you don't switch strings, you can get down to the bottom of your piece where you're holding the plant, and then it's like it all goes to crap. So this is a big bead and it's loose, so I'm going to go ahead and do one. And then I'm going to go ahead and work off camera until, I get all my high-tech stuff and learn how to, like, speed it all up for you. That way they're not, like, hour-long videos. Although eventually I'd like to do some, like, live videos where we're just, like, jamming out, doing it in live time. But make sure I had 5. But yeah, I will work my way around, and then when we get ready to go into the bottom of the piece and how to hook those together and then put on the little skinny beads, I'm not sure I have enough to do 3 rows on this next one, so it may just have to be 2. We just won't have any on the very bottom of the pot there. So I will work my way around off camera, and I will see you guys when we get back. Okay, so just real quick, I did finish this. I'm going to leave it here because I'm going to work my way around, and then we'll go into how to do the bottom. But I did want to tell you, so we started the piece on this side, and that's when I like to flip it over and then pick 4 pieces from this side, and then the leftovers, I will split them up like that. So that's just how I do it. I don't know if that's depending on the, layout of what you're doing. Like these ones are the spirals, so they all just kind of sit like that. If you're doing the flat ones, would be more of this example, then that's when I really like to make sure that my pieces are all flat on both sides. And I just feel like it helps it look nicer up at the top. So it's not really a right or wrong. Do I think anyone else is going to notice? No, absolutely not. But if I do care about what I put out, and I try to, obviously make it look nice, but it's not end all be all on that. So I just wanted to say that. I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to work my way around and finish making these, and I'll see you in a sec, and we'll get at the bottom.